Writing is I most enjoy having done, and it feels painful while I'm doing it.
I hate and love writing. It's the most solitary, horrible process. But when you're alone with that thing and it's going, come on, make me do it. And you go, I don't know, you win today. I'm gonna watch YouTube.
I would say it's my job and I have to do it to pay my mortgage. I mean, I like doing it sometimes, and I can't think of anything I'd really rather do, but it's hard. When I'm doing it, I would like it to be something that's meaningful and that feels honest to me. I don't want to do something that puts what I feel is garbage into the world. So in that sense, I mean, it's important to me. But it's not like this joyous experience or some sort of like, you know, I don't think of myself that way. I think of myself sort of staring off into space a lot or looking at stuff online while I'm trying to write.
When I'm writing, I'm thinking about, I start with the visuals and the kind of the atmosphere and the music, and usually I start with the place. The setting is usually the first. I'll start finding images and photographs and start putting them on my bulletin board, and I start listening to music that feels like the mood as I'm writing, and I'll put pictures in my script, you know, tape them in to remind me of the feeling of a shot or something it reminds me of. And since the beginning, I always made reference books so that I can show the people I'm working with what it's supposed to look like, or what the feeling is, so everyone can be on the same page.
I tend not to think of casting at all when I'm writing. So while I was rewriting Jonah's script, I try and only think of the characters as real people. If you start thinking about actors while you're writing, you're going to limit what the character can be.
Do you think of people you know?
No, they're just characters, and that's one of the great things about writing a screenplay is you get to create in that way. And then when you're finished and you've taken it as far as you can in the screenplay form, that's when you need these guys to come on and really make this.
Do you have a writing process? Do you lock yourself in? Do you write at night? Do you tear out your hair?
All of the above. You try anything.
트리트먼트 쓰고 각본이 진행 중인 중간쯤 단계에서 탕웨이 씨와 박해일 씨를 만나서 캐스팅을 했단 말이에요. 말로 다 설명을 해주고 줄거리를. 왜냐면은 시나리오 기껏 다 써놨는데 탕웨이가 거절하면 그냥 헛수고잖아요. 그래서 그러기 싫어서 거절을 하려면 지금 빨리 해다오 라는 뜻으로 만나서 이제 정원조 씨의 통역을 거쳐서 1시간 반인가 정도 2시간 가까이 다 설명했어요. 막 각본도 안 끝났지만 어쨌든 그 단계에서 나름대로 머릿속에 있던 그 시각적인 요소까지 다 포함해서 다 설명을 했어요. 그 다음에 박해일도 만났고 그렇게 이제 배우를 먼저 정하고 나니까 그 다음에 각본을 쓸 때 이제 배우의 특징들이 이제 들어오게 되는 거죠. 근데 제가 전부터 알던 박해일이 그동안 출연했던 영화들에 많이 표현되어 있지는 않다고 느꼈어요. 그래서 본래 박해일의 모습을 조금 더 가져오겠다는 생각을 했고.
I have to really sit down in the morning and work really hard at it, and just by showing up to my desk every day, and I'm just not one of those people that
it just flows out of.
Well, sometimes it does flow out of you, but only as a result of sitting there for days and just sort of looking at the material, or just chaining yourself to the desk, even if you're not writing, you're just sort of kind of looking at another book or whatever you're doing. I just kind of have to be present and sort of sit there as much as I can. I know people that can, write in the back of a car or, on the back of book. I wish I could do that. Or they write late at night, and they come up with all this great stuff. No, I have to do the exact opposite. I have to try to wake up very early and go straight there and try to get. I have to get into a routine for it to go well. In other words, whatever works for you, it's like you come up with some hocus pocus crazy system on how to do it.
Was there any template? I would think with a first featured script, helps to have some kind of guideline, like what happens in each of the 3 acts. I don't know how to do 3-act structure.
We don't either. I don't know what that is. I mean, I've heard of the 3 acts.
Yeah, I've heard of this, yeah.
Yeah, no, we just have proceeded by feel, sort of, beginning. Where does it go? Seems like it's about time to wind it up.
I'm sure it's the same with you writing. You go like, yeah, what would be good next? And maybe part of it is because you've internalized some structural thing, but it's not like it's not like some target you're aiming for.
We don't tell a story, we tell a situation. Most of the movies that you see nowadays, a good majority of movies that come out, all right, you pretty much know everything you're going to see in the movie by the first 10 or 20 minutes. Now that's not a story. A story is something that constantly unfolds. I'm not talking about like this quick left turn or a quick right turn or a big surprise. I'm talking about it unfolds, all right?
Yeah, but you don't believe in a linear storytelling.
Well, it's not, it's not so much I don't believe in it. If I had written Pulp Fiction as a novel and I was on your show, you would never even remotely bring up the structure.
Flashbacks or whatever it was.
Now the thing is, for both novels and film, 75% of the stories you're going to tell will work better on a dramatic basis, on a dramatically engaging basis to be told from a linear way. But there is that 25% out there that, can be more resonant by telling it this way. And I think in the case of both Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, it gains a lot more resonance being told in this kind of like wild way.
It can happen in all ways where how a story unfolds. Sometimes I'll have a character idea and I'm looking for a story to put the character. Movie I made, Greenberg, that Ben Stiller played, I had this sort of notion of the character, but not the story. Other times I've had more an idea of story or of place or a visual, and that helps me discover the character. But every movie's different that way. Sometimes it can feel like two very disparate ideas, like I said, like a location and a character. Again, in the case of Greenberg, Los Angeles and that character seemed to somehow intersect in a way that gave me ideas and gave me story.
뭐 인물 자체를 별도로 플롯이나 시츄에이션에서 분리시켜가지고 이 인물이 뭐 몇 년간 어떻게 살아왔고 백그라운드 어떻고 이런 식으로 생각하지는 않아요. 저는 일단 상황에 되게 빠르게 저도 그 안에 뛰어들어서 벌어지는 행동과 표면적인 행동과 상황들을 막 써나갑니다. 이제 그러면서 인물에 대해서 생각을 하죠. 이 사람 어떤 사람일까? 네. 일단은 행동을 묘사해버립니다. 바로 저는. 네. 그게 꼭 좋은 거라는 건 아닌데 어쨌든 이 영화에서는 특히 그랬던 것 같아요. 인간의 구체적인 행동이 제일 중요하다고 생각하고 근데 행동에 의외로 인간들이 일관성이 별로 없다고 믿는 편이긴 해요, 사실. 물론 이제 그거에 너무 집착하다 보면 이제 캐릭터들의 일관성이 없어질 위험도 있지만 사실은 저는 그걸 별로 겁을 내진 않습니다.
Intention and obstacle. That's what you've got to cling to. Somebody wants something standing in their way of getting it. They want the money, they want the girl, they want to get to Philadelphia, they want to win the big game, they want to save someone's life. If somebody wants something formidable is standing in the way of getting it. The tactics that your protagonist uses to try to overcome that obstacle or those series of obstacles, that is what's going to create your character. Because you're not going to tell us who this character is, you're going to show us what this character wants. It doesn't matter if they succeed or fail in their quest. It matters to you. It doesn't matter to storytelling. It's just as good a story if they fail as if they succeed. What matters is that the intention be important to them, and that we understand why it's important to them. And the obstacles have to be real.
それは警察はどう動いているのかっていうことになんか集約されてたんですけど、社会の存在っていうのを忘れてはいけないっていう話をされていて、その登場人物たちがやったことに対して必ずその社会の動きっていうものが存在していて、でその登場人物たちは自分の欲望っていうものをなんか思うように叶えられるわけではないのだっていう、そこは大事にしておかないと本当にその脚本っていうものが絵空事になってしまう。
I have this fanatical thing about having every single character in a movie have a moment, so that even the guy who delivers the mail has a little scene. He doesn't just give the mail, he's got this little dopey conversation about hiccups cures. What we try to do is make it as textured and rich as we possibly could so that there was a huge amount underneath the movie. The scene where Rita Wilson tells the story about An Affair to Remember and starts to cry. There's no reason for it. It doesn't move the plot along. You just can't imagine the movie without it because it is what the movie is.
I feel like the kind of writing I like is the kind of writing that one might think is improv.
Yes.
Like Kenneth Lonergan, his writing does not sound like writing, but it definitely is writing. And actually, Kenneth Lonergan, I remember reading his plays when I was in college, and I hadn't read them before, and I read Lobby Hero, and I read This Is Our Youth. This is kind of what I think I could try to do. The same thing I felt about Mike Lee. I don't know any other way to describe it, but there's something about the way he works where it's like you use that improvisational impulse and then you set it, and then you make the thing. I think you can tell more clearly when you see a play, and I saw a play of his called Ecstasy in London. You would think these people were making it up on the spot. There's like a moment where one guy offers a cigarette to a woman. She goes to take it, and the pack, accidentally 2 cigarettes fall out, and then it's this big bobble, and you think, oh no, like they messed it up. And then he like takes the 2 cigarettes and puts them in his mouth. He lights them both. He does this weird dance. But then you realize this was all part of the stagecraft.
Right.
And in film, you can never totally get that because people know, well, the filmmakers have watched this a million times. They've cut it. They've chosen where the edit points are. They know what it is. So this can't really be a mistake. I mean, in Francis says, I like things that look like mistakes. There's something very alive about them.
When you're doing a movie, when you're doing a screenplay, you have to know why it's a movie. And if it doesn't have to be a movie, then you shouldn't make it. Because it's very important that what you do is specific to the medium in which you're doing it, and that you utilize what's specific about that medium to do the work. And if you can't think about why it should be done this way or needs to be done this way, then it doesn't need to be done this way. And then you should figure out what it is about this, if you want to do it, that needs to be told in the form of a movie. I can't tell anyone how to write a screenplay, because the truth is that anything of value you might do comes from you. The way I work is not the way that you work. And the whole point of any creative act is that. What I have to offer is me. What you have to offer is you. And if you offer yourself with authenticity and generosity, I will be moved.
안녕하세요 여러분, 젊은달입니다. 새해가 시작되고 벌써 3월이 코앞까지 왔습니다. 1월에 강연을 진행한 게 엊그제 같은데 말이죠.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
1월에 진행했던 강연은 제가 개인적으로 오랫동안 고민해왔던 질문들을 중심으로 강연을 구성했었습니다. 무엇이 좋은 감독을 만들고, 무엇이 좋은 영화를 만들고, 무엇이 좋은 이야기를 만들고, 영화라는 건 과연 어떤 작업일까? 이렇게 강연에서 다루었던 내용들은 여러 거장들과 그들의 각기 다른 창작론을 검토하고 이해함으로써 이들의 차이점, 그리고 이들을 관통하는 공통점을 알아가고, 더 나아가 나란 작가에게 새로운 시선과 발견을 제공하는 것에 초점이 맞춰져 있습니다. 현재 수강 신청을 받고 있는 시네마클럽 2기는 기존에 진행했던 강연 3개, 그리고 새로운 강연이 2개로 매주 1회 3시간의 강연을 5번, 그렇게 5주 동안 진행하게 됩니다. 더 자세한 정보는 영화 힐링 채널 젊은달 커뮤니티 글 혹은 밑에 정보란에 링크를 참고해 주시고요. 앞으로는 강연 외에도 영상을 보다 자주 업로드할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다. 그럼 여러분 모두 좋은 하루 되시길 바라고요. 앞으로도 많은 관심과 응원 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.